Welcome to Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing us here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. I'm grateful to have you here consistently. To everybody that supported the brand, I want to say thank you very much to you. I want to say thank you to everybody that subscribed to the channel. If you've not subscribed to the channel, it's a big opportunity for you to subscribe to the channel. If you have subscribed, also have not turned on notification, come on, do turn on notification. It's exciting times here, and there's a lot to talk about on the world of sports. Tactical analysis, big one. Essentially, it's about a lot of the myth that I saw in this game, and it's not just about the Chelsea fans. It's for everybody. I mean, you see, sometimes when red card do come in games, people tend to think that, oh, when the team that went down by a man or two lost, it is because they went down by a man or two. But especially in this context of Chelsea versus Arsenal, Chelsea versus Tottenham Hotspur in that London derby, the contest of the game is the reason, the crux of the matter. It's why I'm here. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. Tactical analysis. I do this every time, and I love you. You want to watch this, want to subscribe to the channel if you've not. If you do turn on notification and do choose all. I will be back with a lot of juice. Guys, so yeah, like I said, the Chelsea versus Tottenham game is probably the craziest game I've seen since I began following football. I don't say one of the craziest because, you see, that game wasn't just crazy. There was a lot of madness in it. In fact, this morning I read a tactical report of the game. And can you believe that the ball was only in play for 47 minutes and excesses, about just 48 minutes. And the whole game went on for 111 minutes. That's bonkers. A game that went on for 111 minutes, about just 48 minutes was in play. See, it means that in next about 60 minutes of the game, and majority of the game was either down to VAR checks, red cards, was down to referee speaking to the various technical teams, and fouls, restarting, and what's not. I mean, it's something else. For a neutral, yesterday's games was brilliant. For a neutral, and you look at how Tottenham Hotspur went into the game in a 4-2-3-1. Essentially, when they went into the game, it was about using exactly what Ange Postecoglou has had them do for a very long time since he took over. So first of all, it is consistency in terms of overloading every phase of build-up. Consistency in terms of overloading every part of the game. So from the progression of the ball in the first phase to the second phase, Tottenham must be consistently overloading. Now, they knew that Chelsea usually press in a 4-1-4-1 shape, or a 4-4-1-1, anyhow you want to say. Now, because of this, they built with just their centre-backs, Van der Ven and then Christian Romero. I've personally mentioned that, yes, Christian Romero is sometimes very clumsy, one of the clumsiest centre-backs that you get in the English Premier League. But one of the things that you should also accept is that he is one of the best. One of the best from centre-back position. One of the best centre-backs that you get, especially on the ball, from vertical passes and what you need from teams in progression. He gives you that every time, consistently. You see that in the games that he plays. Now, when Tottenham Hotspur played like that, consistently, they had both Edogie and Pedro Porro dropping into an inverted position. I haven't seen that for a very long time. Where both fullbacks, nobody occupies the width, nobody gives the team width. All of them come inverted in the second phase. So you have the two center backs on either of them on the ball. Sometimes Vicario steps in between them to make it 3. Then you had Pedro Porro dropping into an inverted role. Then you have my man Edogie also dropping into an inverted role. Once you have Edogie in that inverted role, then you have your two holding midfielders who, for me, are one of the best in terms of technical quality on the ball and sometimes even physicality in the English Premier League as it stands now. Papi Matassa is a player that I've personally scouted for a very long time. And yes, under Antonio Conte, he did not have that combativeness and aggression to be able to play the Antonio Conte style of football. But under Ange Postecoglou, he's a perfect fit. He fits like a glove in that game, especially alongside his Malian and then African compatriot, Yves Bissouma. So It means that in that second phase, Tottenham already had formed a box midfield. And this was against Chelsea's 4-4-1-1 or 4-1-4-1. It means that in central area, Chelsea had Enzo Fernandez. Even if Conor Gallagher wanted to drop into that middle of the park, it became my man 4v3. Now, consistently, I've mentioned also about Cole Palmer's use of body orientation and intelligence, his cognitive ability to block passing lanes and use his limbs to do that job very well. Yes, he tried to do that job. He tried very hard to get that job done and then push it to those limits. But do you know why that was very difficult? You know why that was almost impossible to do? Once he did that, it was because of Idogie's positioning. And I'm going to show that in this video for us. Whilst Idogie's positioning was brilliant, he failed to get that job done. And also, it is the fact that James Maddison did a brilliant job as consistently dropping into those half spaces. Maddison will drop from deep areas into the half spaces, pick up the ball, and progress it forward. And that's exactly how, somewhere around the 6th, 7th minute, Dejan Kulusevski was in acres of space. Maddison picked that ball from wide areas because he dropped from deep into the half space, picked that ball in Chelsea's own half, and then played a diagonal pass into Dejan Kulusevski. And once Kulusevski received that ball, you know how menacing Kulusevski is on the ball. Now, that's essentially how the first 10 minutes, Tottenham Hotspur were on top of their game. And they were making it almost impossible for Chelsea to have a sniff of the game. Now, after the 10th, 15 minutes thereabout, I realized that Enzo Fernandez and Reece James were in a tete-a-tete, and then Reece, for one, walks to Mauricio Pochettino after the game was paused for a while and describes to him how they have constantly been overloaded, especially from wide areas when they stayed 1v1 to try and deal with the wide threats that Tottenham Hotspur brought in because they were consistently overloading them. And before the game, Ange Postecoglou has spoken extensively about how he uses the fluidity, the fluidness of his teams in a rigid system. That's what they call the principle of the fluid rigidity. So he used that where the system is rigid. We need to pass here first. We need to do that. But it's the mobility of the players in that system that makes the difference every time. And quickly, Mauricio Pochettino made that all-important tactical switch. And that's the first myth to debunk. It was Tottenham only controlled the game for just 10 to 20 minutes. Right after that, Chelsea changed in shape of press from that 4-4-1-1 or 4-1-4-1 to a 2-3-5. The shape of press, the press structure was changed. So you could see that ball that led to Cole Palmer's penalty, that led to Enzo Fernandez's penalty. Tottenham Hotspur for the first time were trying to build up from the back, but their overloads were not working. Centrally, Chelsea had an extra man and Moise Caicedo won that ball, played forward. Sterling got onto that ball, ricocheted off Enzo Fernandez, and then Christian Romero came into him, clattered into him, and the penalty was awarded to Chelsea. So the overloads weren't working. So you can't say that Tottenham Hotspur dominated the game the whole time. That's false. It cannot be true because that wasn't it. Again, whilst the game went on, between the 6th minute where Dejan Kulusevski scores that goal, and in the 33rd minute where Christian Romero gets the red card, Chelsea averaged about 70% of ball possession. 70% of ball possession. So how does a team that has been totally dominated, and you say that, okay, fine, Chelsea only had a sniff of the game when Tottenham had the 2 red cards, how do they get 70% of ball possession? And you see, sometimes in analysis, just the data doesn't make sense, but it is the use of the data. It is what Chelsea made of the possession at that point in time that made sense. So if somebody just says, okay, Chelsea had possession, but what they use the possession for, then you query them with respect to that. But you go back and look at Chelsea's possession, and in that spell, Chelsea had 7 shots on target. Chelsea played 7 shots with 6 being on target. Between that time, Chelsea had 2 disallowed goals. So the context is really important in such an analysis. 2 disallowed goals, 7 shots, 6 on target, 70% ball possession. And how do you say this team didn't have a foothold of the game when the game went on? I do not understand. and I do not get why anybody would say this. Once the press structure was changed, and even apart from the press structure, so I've spoken about the press structure. I've spoken about the possession of the game. I've spoken about the chances created and what Chelsea made of the possession. I can also speak about the type of press that Chelsea deployed. Right after the structure was changed, Chelsea went into a very aggressive press. Conor Gallagher, Cole Palmer, Raheem Sterling were very aggressive, with Nicolas Jackson as well. They realized that they had to go aggressive on Tottenham Hotspur, else they overload them, else they'll play through them. They need to be aggressive. And immediately they went full ballistic aggressive. And I've consistently said that Chelsea's press trigger, the exceptional one, for me, is Conor Gallagher. And immediately Conor gets into these games and he tries to be very aggressive and pushes the team. The team gets there. So Chelsea were not necessarily battered, as a lot of people are made to believe that Chelsea probably were battered in the game. No, Chelsea were not battered. Chelsea were not battered. So we've spoken about the press structure. We've spoken about the aggressive nature of the press. We've spoken about the type of press. We've spoken about the chances that Chelsea created. We've spoken about the possession that Chelsea received. In that area, 70% of ball possession around that time. That is not joke. That is not joke at all. And you see, since about 2002, last year, this is the game with the highest XG differential in favor of a team. Highest XG differential. So XG is a measurement of the quality of chances that teams do create. So the difference in XG. And Chelsea were at it, winning it largely by 3.76 XG differential against Tottenham Hotspur. The only unbeaten side in the English Premier League until they met Mauricio Pochettino's Chelsea in the English Premier League. It was total dominance. If the game had stayed in 11-11, Chelsea consistently would have had that aggressive press, would have closed down patterns and all of those things. So it wasn't because Christian Romero had a red card. It wasn't because Destiny Udogie had a certain second yellow card and then the match and all this. No, that's not true. It goes way beyond that. It isn't just about that. It goes way beyond that. And Chelsea have shown consistently that they are on the ascension and that the growth of the team is beginning to be seen. So for a team that goes into a game like this and win by 4-1, yes, is it an excellent performance from Chelsea? No. Is it an impeccable performance from Chelsea? No. But they got the job done. And in moments before that red card that Tottenham Hotspur had, Chelsea had strong holds of the game. Between 6th minute and 33rd minute, this is exactly what was going on. In fact, up until the halftime whistle, Chelsea should have made it 2-1 in the first half. They missed they made big chances, and then they also had 2 goals being disallowed. So it's essentially that's exactly how the game was about. How Chelsea consistently have those spaces to get a job done. So it's a myth. Do not let anybody lie to you that before the red card, Chelsea weren't performing well. Do not let anybody lie to you that it was only after the red card that Chelsea performed well. No, that's not true. That's not true. That is definitely not true. And tactically, Chelsea had a foothold of the game. And I think that the team is on the right path. They're growing. Yes, it wasn't the best time, but this is going to be a catapult and a springboard to Chelsea and everything that they do going forward. Mind you, there are bigger games on the horizon. Manchester City will be coming home. After that, there is Newcastle United. And these are tough teams to play against. I've consistently said that Chelsea will find it easier to play against the big 6 teams than they do against the bottom teams, the bottom tier teams, because they will essentially make it difficult for you to break them down in a low block. And Chelsea do not have the patience. You saw it in the game against Tottenham Hotspur. When Tottenham came with a high line, Chelsea needed to be patient. But they were not being patient. They played the balls too quicker. They made the runs too quicker. And then they ended up how it was supposed to be. If they were much more patient and did what they were supposed to do, they probably would have scored more. So it's a tough call. Manchester City, Newcastle United, but then these are things that Chelsea can pitch their weight against. I'm looking at, say, a 4 points in those 2 games from a possible 6. A 4 points, an unbeaten run between Man City and Newcastle. So yeah, guys, This is all what time will permit us. Um, my name is still Fiifi-Manfred. This is Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. I am grateful for your time. I'm grateful for your support thus far. It has been immense. I am really, really grateful to everybody that subscribe to the channel, turn on notification, and then of course do choose all. I'll leave you here. Take good care of yourself, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.